There may be times when students and families want to prepare before the October 1st opening date of the FAFSA. The FAFSA Forecaster is a great tool that can provide simplified estimates for an upcoming year. This tool may be especially useful for students that believe they won't qualify for any federal aid and will only require that they report the adjusted gross income, income taxes paid, and household size. It may also help students who are skeptical start to apply. Each year, billions of dollars in federal funding is left unclaimed since students make assumptions about their financial status. For parents who have students on leave of absence, this may be effective at helping them to gather financial resources before the beginning of an academic year. You can direct students to use the FAFSA Forecaster through the following link in the training. Satisfactory academic progress. There are guidelines that students must meet to receive federal student aid, referred to as satisfactory academic progress, or SAP. At SUU, students must maintain the following to be in good standing. 1, a 2.0 overall GPA. 2, a 70% completion status of all attempted credits. And 3, they may not exceed 150% of the total it takes to receive a bachelor's degree. Students may come to SUU without meeting these requirements, or may not meet them while attending. These requirements exist to ensure that students are making adequate progress towards their degree and that they are responsibly spending federal funding on educational expenses. Students who fail to meet these requirements while at SUU may be placed on suspension for 1 academic semester, followed by an indefinite suspension. Students can move in and out of suspension once that status has been obtained by meeting the previous requirements. If a student is unable to meet requirements, they have the opportunity to submit a suspension appeal. The appeals are reviewed through a committee to assess the circumstances of a student along with their academic history, aid history, campus resource utilization, and enrollment status. These guidelines for these appeals may be rigid at times due to federal regulation that enforce them. You may see returning students or non-traditional students who have not done as well at previous institutions experience suspension. Student aid reports. A helpful way for you to help a student understand what they will be eligible for is through explaining the student aid report, or SAR. A student aid report is an estimate of a student's award after they have completed the FAFSA. The FAFSA system will send students an email with the student aid report within 2 days of completing the FAFSA. An example of the student aid report for 2020-2021 is attached to this training. Student aid reports are fairly accurate as long as students input all of their information correctly on the FAFSA. Although it should be emphasized that there are estimates provided by the government to help prepare. One way to eliminate a potential change of award is by instructing students to use the IRS data retrieval tool, or the DRT, which will upload student/parent tax information into the FAFSA. In order for the DRT to work properly for students and parents, they will need to have their taxes in front of them, since the IRS will require the exact information reported in their system. Students will be able to use the data retrieval tool for their information to be transferred from the IRS. The use of the DRT will help students to obtain more accurate student aid reports, or SARs, and if they are selected for verification, it will only help to expedite the award process in lieu of submitting tax documentation. One quick way to determine if a student is selected for verification is by analyzing the student aid report. If the student's EFC has an asterisk next to it, then a student will be selected for verification, which may be helpful to identify early so they are awarded sooner. Student aid reports will also display any errors that a student made on the application. If a student does not receive any estimates for their award after completing the application, certain information may need to be adjusted. Usually, the student aid report will inform students of what needs to be corrected. This is a situation that can be used for referral to the financial aid team. For the 2022-23 academic year, and for the rest of the 2021-22 year, verification will be waived for students attending SUU or any other institution. Eligibility reevaluations and professional judgment determinations. The FAFSA will look at prior tax year information for students completing the FAFSA. The use of this data makes the process simpler by allowing families to use the IRS data retrieval tool and to provide an accurate snapshot of their current situation. This is under the assumption that financial situations do not shift significantly from year to year. However, there may be cases where a student's financial situation does change, and they should inquire about an eligibility reevaluation. In these cases, the financial aid administrator can make a professional judgment on a student, which is a case-by-case determination on how unusual circumstances might change the FAFSA to better reflect a family's ability to pay for school. This may not be something that you deal with often, but in situations where students disclose that significant changes in tax information, medical expenses, household sizes, or lifestyle changes have occurred, make sure to notify the financial aid administrator for further review. The following is an example of a professional judgment scenario. Stephen is an incoming student and is excited to begin his time at SUU. He was recently admitted but is confused about his financial opportunities. Stephen filled out the FAFSA to help cover the cost of his education, but after receiving his award notification, he knew it would not be enough funding. 2 years ago, Stephen's parents owned their own business, but in the previous year, it was not successful enough to sustain any longer. His parents would end up claiming bankruptcy and claiming unemployment for the next year and a half to stay above water. Stephen is only a couple months away from starting at SUU, and an eligibility reevaluation may be the solution for him after he investigates his options. Stephen meets with the financial aid office to review his circumstances and will be able to change his and his parents' tax information to last year's tax information to reduce his EFC. The financial aid administrator made this determination since it better reflects his family's ability to pay for college and will result in more federal aid for Stephen. Disbursements and refunds. Any aid that's on a student's account will disperse 10 days prior to the start of the semester. Students may have charges posted on their account that seem higher since their aid has not reduced the overall amount. In these situations, families will have to remain patient to pay off the remaining balance and will not need to pay anything until the first day of classes. If students are unable to pay their account balance on the first day of school, they will be able to enroll in a payment plan. Payment plans typically become available in August for an upcoming academic year and allow students to set up a 3-installment payment plan or a 4-installment payment plan. Students can navigate to the payment screen by clicking on their account balance in the top right-hand corner of their SE portal or by selecting the student billing system in the portal. A $50 fee must be paid to enroll in a payment plan for a semester. After aid disperses, some students may get refunded aid that exceeds their account charges. In this case, students will be eligible for a refund. Refunds are sent out to the local or mailing address that SUU has on file or are direct deposited if students have authorized direct deposit transactions. In order to set up a direct deposit, students can select the direct deposit link through the SU portal. Refunds will be processed on the first day of school.